This is CBC Here and Now.
One student is trying to be accepted into the Faculty of Medicine, but is facing major hurdles.
I want to help people. I didn't realize it was going to be so difficult to attempt to do that.
Why it all comes down to whether she's a resident of this province, that's coming up.
Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador is hosting their annual conference, AGM, and trade show in Corner Brook.
Climate change is a huge challenge on the forefront for our communities.
I'll break it all down for you. That's tonight.
Friends of the St. John's Public Library are having their fall book sale this Saturday. We'll have all the details coming up.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. We begin with political news. The electoral district of Topsail-Paradise will stay blue after a judicial recount. The results came in this afternoon, and the CBC's Julia Israel is standing by live with more. So, Julia, what's the latest on this?
Well, the numbers are in, and the Progressive Conservatives will retain the district of Topsail-Paradise. Late this afternoon, an email from the Office of the Chief Electoral Officer confirmed that Paul Dinn will remain winner and MHA of this district with 3,029 votes. That is 2 less than what was initially counted on election night. Now, this judicial recount came at the request of the Liberals in late October. The party had requested 3 recounts, and if any of those seats flipped, then the PC government would have lost its slim majority status. But this recount was the only one of the 3 that the judge allowed to proceed, and he made that decision because affidavits showed that in this district, on some ballots, candidates' names were circled instead of marked with an X. The recount began early Tuesday morning as lawyers for the candidates, Elections Newfoundland and Labrador officials, and party representatives had to make their way through more than 6,300 ballots. And today, Elections NL finds the outcome to be nearly the same as election night. The new tally released this afternoon has Liberal candidate Dan Bobbitt receiving 6 less votes than originally counted, losing to Dinn by a margin of 106 votes. CBC News reached out to both Dinn and Bobbitt for comment, but neither were available this afternoon. Carolyn?
Thank you so much, Julia. That's CBC's Julia Israel reporting live. Well, a long-awaited residential development in St. John's is back in motion. The Canada Lands Company built several hundred units in Pleasantville around a decade ago. Now, the group is looking for feedback on phase 2 of the development. And as Daryl Roberts reports, that will be a much bigger undertaking.
For years, this part of Pleasantville and St. John's has sat empty. In 2006, the Canada Lands Company, a federal crown corporation, acquired the land from the Department of Defense with the goal of building new housing.
More than 360 units were completed as part of Phase 1, but Phase 2 never materialized. According to the Canada Lands Company, that's going to change soon.
But now we're really into the bigger piece of the land, which is the west side here. And this is where most of the housing potential is, where we plan to build up to 1,000 homes.
The plan includes different kinds of housing: townhouses, mid-rise apartments, and taller apartment buildings. And the Canada Lands Company is promising 20% of that housing will be affordable.
We want housing for seniors, we want housing for students, we want housing for families, because there's a real problem with a shortage of housing in this city.
The Pleasantville Legion was full of curious residents this week looking to get more details and have their say.
I like the idea that it's not all high-end and or low-end, that you've got it all intermingled together. That's the way it should be. I don't see a lot about where you go if you want to go to a store, or you want to go for a cup of coffee, or what if the kids want to go and do something. There should be something. It's almost like its own little community. So let's make it its own little community.
What we need to see are universally designed homes. And so we've been talking to some of the groups here today, the individuals working on the project, and we've been told that the concepts for the interiors of these places have not yet been designed, that they are very willing to talk to us further and ensure that universal design is included in their planning. So if we actually realize universal design in these spaces, it's a win.
Phase 2 of the Pleasantville project comes just weeks after news broke of another housing development close by. KMK Capital is proposing more than 1,200 units on the site of the former Ballyhaley golf course. But the city's deputy mayor says he isn't worried that the two projects will be too much too fast.
We have very strong regulatory processes in place, like water retention, detention. There are requirements for open space. So that's all in place. And these are two good developers who want to do good neighborhood developments. And, we say it's a small area, but this is a fairly large area, right? Like you're talking an 18-hole golf course, and then you're talking about Pleasantville.
As for when this project will happen, the Canada Lands Company says it's looking to begin construction next summer, with the first homes ready to welcome residents in 2028. Daryl Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, now to news from the courts. The trial for accused sexual predator Tony Humby hit a snag today as the last complainant to testify was a no-show. And a warning, this story does contain disturbing details. Ryan Cook reports.
The witness stand was empty Friday morning as the 10th complainant scheduled to testify against Tony Humby failed to show. Police officers eventually found the man, but the court heard he was too sick to testify. He's expected back on Monday. The man started his testimony on Thursday afternoon, telling the court he'd been sexually assaulted by Humby between the ages of 12 and 19. He described one incident here at Humby's trailer on Hussey Drive, his 16th birthday, complete with cake, drinks, and friends. But he says the night took a turn when everyone else left and Humby sexually assaulted him. The man says his mother urged him to go to police years ago, but he was too scared. Crown Prosecutor Deidre Badcock says the man was upset when he left court Thursday. She said he's been frustrated at the slow pace of the trial, ongoing now for months. He's the 10th and final complainant to testify. Now, there are 11 complainants in total, but one died before the case made it to trial. The Crown is expected to bring forward an application to have their statements to police entered as evidence, despite their untimely passing. Ryan Cook, CBC News, St. John's.
Now to the West Coast. Municipalities from around the province gathered in Corner Brook this week for an annual conference. In the spotlight was the impact of natural disasters. As Here and Now's Colleen Connors reports, the biggest issue facing communities is how to tackle ongoing floods, droughts, and wildfires.
Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador's annual conference, AGM, and of course trade show is happening in Corner Brook late this week. And because of the most recent municipal election, there's a lot of new mayors and councillors networking here and trying to learn the ropes. The biggest issue, though, that faces municipalities year after year that never seems to get resolved is the overlying issue of climate change and the high cost to keep up with the ever-changing infrastructure. For some councillors, it's a constant battle. Residents with shallow wells in Portugal Cove, St. Philip's need better access to potable water. But the community of 9,000 has little money to install such infrastructure.
We just had a big issue in our community with a subdivision, an old subdivision that was on a private well system, and basically that system broke down. And the province came in to fund this with 70%, but 30% was the responsibility of the town. Well, our town had just sold a large chunk of land to the province to build a high school. We received just over $1 million back. When this issue happened with the water system, we had to give that money right back.
For CEO of MNL, he says communities are on the forefront of the climate change battle.
Big question is, how do they get the money? So in some instances, funding is available and capacity gets in the way. So 75% of our municipalities have fewer than 1,000 residents. Most of those municipalities have one or fewer full-time staff. So they might have a town clerk manager who works 2 afternoons a week. So that town clerk manager is working hard just to keep the town going. So finding out about funding, programming from the feds or the province, let alone putting in a proposal, is a great challenge for many people. So that's where we can come in.
The annual conference that attracts over 300 people. Town reps are able to make new contacts and learn a lot from other communities, like Dean Ball, who's mayor again in Deer Lake, a West Coast town that's seen its share of erosion, floods, and now serious drought.
The lack of rain in the last 2 winters, the lack of snow runoff, it's very concerning as a municipality what comes next. You could walk to the island, to the mouth of the river, and not get your feet wet.
MNL wants government to start thinking ahead and planning for what comes next.
A long-term infrastructure plan funding is definitely necessary from the provincial government and the federal government to help us plan better. We plan for projects, we have to apply for the funding. There's no guarantees we're going to get the funding. The project gets carried over, the infrastructure gets older, and the costs go up.
For Deer Lake, Ball says changes now have climate change on the brain.
It's always mindful of size of pipe, how deep the pipe is in the ground, how big the pipes are.
Conference goers and MNL staff will have a chance to put their questions to Premier Tony Wakeham, who will be a special guest speaker at the conference this weekend. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Corner Brook.
The group Friends of the St. John's Public Libraries is having its fall book sale tomorrow at the AC Hunter Library. Thousands of books are on display and ready for sale, but there was still some heavy lifting left to do for Here and Now's Jeremy Eaton.
And you have to have a special key in order to go down. So come on in.
Woo! Whoa!
And this room is usually filled up with tables and piled high with books, but all of those books that we're going to put in the sale have now gone upstairs, except for this little bunch that you guys are going to load onto a cart. $2 for adult book.
So I really like Stanley Tucci. Get thrown out of here before we even get going.
So this is one of the rooms that's set up, and you see the tables have been brought up and it's labeled where we're putting the books.
What do you think it is about this event that makes it so popular that people want to stand in line outside in the cold of November an hour before it even opens?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think for some people it's just become a tradition now that they would come to our spring and fall sales. We are, I think, the best prices in town at $2 for an adult book and $1 for children's. And of course, books are getting to be a very expensive commodity now. So if somebody is just looking to read, a fairly recent book, they can come. They may not get today's bestseller or the Giller winner from last week, but they may get one of our earlier books.
We always want to make sure that our library collections represent our community, so the Friends always like to come to us and talk and ask about what we would like to see the funds going towards every year, and that's something that our collections librarians brought up to them, is that we are trying to build up our multilingual collections. We have a lot of newcomers in our community. We work a lot with the Association for New Canadians, so obviously we're getting feedback from them as well. So yeah, building up our multilingual collections. We like to think we do a pretty good job, but a lot of it is donation based, and when we can buy stuff, sometimes it's a little expensive. So having that little extra funding from the Friends book sales is really, really helpful. We're always so appreciative for the book sales. They do it twice a year, and it really is an amazing fundraising event for the St. John's Public Libraries. So we're very grateful for them every single year.
Okay, just have a look at this video of a very unique performance of Muscles in the Corner by a Mun music student. Fantastic. That's Aidan Salvati playing 3 recorders at once. And his professor, David Bewley, is very proud of this performance. And so he should be. How interesting.
I don't even think I could play one. Taking a look at the weather as we head through the next couple of days, we've got some unsettled weather. We're already starting to see that, especially for southern areas of the island. That will continue to work its way north as we head through tonight. So expect rain, even snow in some higher elevations on the west coast of the island. This will be a snow event for most of Labrador. Now the coast, you'll see some rain, but we've got another round of snow and rain coming for Sunday. I'll break that all down for you coming up a little later.
With aluminum and fiberglass, they connect ocean lovers to the sea. Meet rural boat makers of Newfoundland and Labrador, Sunday at 11:30 and Monday at 7.
Well, one Memorial University student applied to the Faculty of Medicine earlier this summer. She was surprised to hit a major roadblock. About whether she's a resident of this province, Here Now's Henrika Wilhelm explains.
I want to help people. I didn't realize it was going to be so difficult to attempt to do that.
For years, it's been Rebecca McDonald's dream to study medicine and practice at home in Newfoundland and Labrador. Applications opened back in August, and she applied right away under the NL candidate stream, which reserves 84 seats per year for students from this province.
They are denying me consideration as a Newfoundland resident, which means it's much less likely that I will get in.
Instead, she is considered a Canadian resident, now competing for only 6 seats, along with more than 450 other applicants, according to Memorial University's website. At the heart of the issue, McDonald's father, Tony, and his service in the Canadian Armed Forces.
These two are for my United Nations peacekeeping mission in South Sudan.
Causing the family to move around to Petawawa, Ontario when McDonald was 2, then at 12 to Gagetown, New Brunswick. That's where she completed high school in 2021, just before the family returned to St. John's, where McDonald started her undergraduate studies right away.
The places I've grown up have been very, like they're temporary, you know, I have no connections there. My roots have always been here.
Back then, Memorial University did make an exception and accepted McDonald as an NL resident.
It's very strange to me that I am applying, you know, getting my undergrad from the same university and paying tuition as a Newfoundland and Labrador resident. And then, you know, on the same campus, the same institution is telling me not only something different, but that they have no power to change it. I can't tell you why. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
While nobody from the university was available for an interview, a statement to CBC News said the residency definition at Memorial University for medical school admissions is contained in legislation. We recognize that this has unintended consequences for some members of our community. We look forward to working with the new provincial government towards a solution. That legislation is the Memorial University Act, which states that applicants must have lived in the province permanently for the last 3 years without attending a post-secondary institution. But the McDonalds say the university was not clear on all this from the start.
They let us believe that they had the power to grant an exemption.
And it wasn't just that they led us to believe that. I went to the admissions office at the medical school, and the woman I was speaking to told me that this process had happened before with military families, and that the current process was that in my application, I just had to explain the situation and provide documentation to prove it.
But when it turned out that wasn't the case, the family got in touch with those in charge of legislation. They say while former Education Minister Bernard Davis told them in a meeting that he supported them, new Education Minister Paul Dinn has also reached out, but they haven't heard back in 2 weeks. Dinn wasn't available for an interview either. In a statement, a spokesperson merely said the department is aware of the situation and is looking into the matter. For McDonald, time is running out. According to Memorial's website, notifications for interviews will be sent out in just 1 week. For a father, it all feels
surreal, shocking, absurd. Memorial University is named in honor of the service of military members, and then they turn around in 2025 and discriminate against someone because of military service. It's so unbelievable. It's hard to put words to it.
I think that this is an important fight. Even if it doesn't help me, I hope to help the next person. I hope that this is an issue that can be resolved at some point.
But if that doesn't happen and McDonald doesn't get in now, she said she will try again next year, but that she'll have to move on eventually and apply elsewhere to pursue her dream of medicine, even if she doesn't think she should have to. Henrike Wilhelm, CBC News, St. John's.
Ashley, the weekend is here, and it was a gorgeous day here in the east. I noticed a few little puddles in my backyard frozen over this morning, but yeah, it's a lovely day.
It was a little chilly to start, and as you mentioned, the puddles, there were some other areas that saw a little bit of frost this morning. This one in Calls Harbor. Yeah, but it didn't last very long. We saw the sunshine. It warmed up quite nicely this afternoon from this morning. So temperatures, that frost didn't last very long. But daytime highs between 3 and about 6 degrees this afternoon. That's a little bit right around where we should be sitting this time of year, up across Labrador towards the coast anyway, 1 to 5. And then Lab City and Churchill Falls both sitting at -2 this afternoon. Your temperatures aren't going to move a whole lot over the next little bit. In fact, you'll be into the minus single digits for quite a few days. Now, taking a look at what's going on, we had that ridge of high pressure that kept the skies clear and for most of the day today, which is why we saw some of that frost. But we do have another area of low pressure to our south that is already bringing some shower activity. And we've got this another area of low pressure that's going to move in and bring some flurries up to parts of Labrador as well. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Already taking a look at the satellite radar, already seeing some of that rain move in, showing up as some snow and potentially even a mix, likely only falling in the higher elevations though. But temperatures as the system advances are actually getting into some cooler air, hovering around the 0 degree mark for Corner Brook -2 and Deer Lake -2 in Grand Falls, Windsor as well. So I do anticipate that this may start as snow, definitely in those higher elevations, but it should change over to rain as those temperatures warm up through the night tonight. And let's take a look at the future tracker. And you'll see that showing up fairly nicely on the picture here, and then up across Labrador, you're looking at some snow, and that will continue as we head through the night tonight and eventually spread across Labrador as we head into tomorrow morning. And you can see along the Long Range Mountains, this will likely fall as some accumulating snow, potentially parts of the northern peninsula, but mainly towards the lower elevations, this should just be rain. Temperature-wise, they should warm up in some cases, generally sitting somewhere around the 0 degree mark and about 4 degrees, but again, warming as we head to tomorrow morning. Most of Labrador will sit below 0 tonight, anywhere from -1 to -3. Light winds, but as we head through the day tomorrow, winds will pick up just a little bit in some cases. So you'll see that snow pretty much spread across the Big Land into tomorrow afternoon. Periods of snow expected. By the time we get to 3 or 4 o'clock, most of us across the island will start to see that rain taper off. You'll likely see a few lingering showers for those of you on the west coast of the island, but that is about it. As we head into the evening, though, another round of rain moving in, starting on the south. This is going to be essentially an eastern half of the island weather event, and you'll likely see that rain start through the late evening, overnight, continuing into Sunday morning, but some cold air wrapping around here. So we may see some snow, some accumulating snow, which may fall fairly heavy to start the day on Sunday, but that should be mainly just for central and potentially parts of eastern Newfoundland, but the rain should be fairly heavy for the Avalon. So keep that in mind if you have any travel plans on Sunday morning. The thing is, this is moving through fairly quickly. By noon, things should clear out for most of the eastern portion of the island, and we should say goodbye to that and even some sunshine. However, onshore flurries will likely be the story for those of you on the west coast. Now, how much snow are we talking? Up across, well, this is rain. Let's start with rain. We're looking at between 30 to 50 millimeters of rain for the eastern portion of the island. That's, again, when we see some of that heavy rain through Sunday, and then snowfall will be somewhere between 5 to 10 centimeters for most of Labrador. Now, for the island, for Sunday, Again, 2 to maybe 5 centimeters of snow falling, but again, that should end by the time we get to the noon hour. As far as the temperatures go for tomorrow, 5 to 10 degrees for most of the island. We're looking at those winds either out of the south or southwest, somewhere between 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. For Labrador, pretty much the temperatures will stay somewhere between 0 to about +3 towards the coast, -3 for those of you in Lab West. But again, you will see that change over to rain towards the coast. Now, long range forecast, a little bit of a cool down coming. I'll get into that coming up a little later.
Doctors from this province are on the ground in Jamaica to join the relief effort as people there try to recover from the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa 3 weeks ago. Members of Team Broken Earth arrived 2 days ago. The group's founder and former premier of this province, Dr. Andrew Fury, is also there using his skills as an orthopedic trauma surgeon to help patients in need. He joins me now from Westmoreland Parish. Thank you so much for making time for us, Dr. Fury.
Happy to do so, Carolyn. How are you?
Good, thank you. And I understand you are in one of the hardest hit areas there in Jamaica. Can you paint us a picture of what it's like there now and how the people there are doing?
Sure. So there's, as I'm sure your viewers have seen, the devastation, but to see it up close and personal is really overwhelming at times. The devastation is a similar scale in pockets to the earthquake in Haiti in 2010. It's not the mass destruction that we saw in Haiti and Port-au-Prince, but there are pockets where it's very, very similar, where buildings are just completely destroyed. We visited a hospital yesterday in a different parish that was a 170-bed hospital. So for the viewers at home, St. Clair's is about 200 beds, completely destroyed. They only had a minimally functioning emergency department. So the devastation is intense and it's immense. But it's also very human and personal because you see houses that are completely evacuated, completely collapsed, but you can see remnants of a previous life there, bedding, clothing, stuffed animals we just saw. So it's very emotional. But what's inspiring is the resilience of the people of Jamaica. They're committed to rebuilding, they're resilient, they're hopeful, they're smiling, they're grateful to see us, and they want to work towards a rebuild, which hopefully we can provide a small role in.
Yeah, and what is your role? What is your main mission there?
This mission is largely a needs assessment to see if the skills of Broken Earth can meet the needs of the people of Jamaica. Already we know that there's going to be a backlog of hernia operations, as an example. So to work with the Ministry of Health to understand where best to perform those operations is going to be important, whether it's in the most impacted area where they may not have a functioning operating theater, or to take the people from the impacted area and bring them to an operating theater that's functional, all of which will help the health system of Jamaica get back on its feet.
How many people do you think that you'll be able to help while you're there? And what kind of a difference do you think the work that you're doing there will make in the long run?
I think it'll make a huge difference. I mean, if you look at the trip that we just had in Guatemala, again, it's still ongoing, and shout out to everybody on the ground there, including Michelle Murphy, who's the team lead. We had 4 operating theaters running and a dental team who were seeing hundreds of patients. The operating theaters alone accomplished anywhere from 150 to 200 cases. Those are cases that would not be done. I saw somebody myself. She was a young lady, 33 years old. She had had a problem with her hip since she was an infant. Was in an incredible amount of pain, had a massive limp. It prevented her from employment. And when I told her that we could do a hip replacement on her, she broke down in tears and had to sit down, but was sustained crying because this was access to care and a solution that she wouldn't have normally had.
Yeah. And no doubt life-changing for someone who's in that much pain. A hip operation can change everything for someone. Yeah.
Absolutely. Life-changing, and other procedures that were performed throughout the week were actually life-saving. So it's the impact that we have is beyond is beyond the system's impact. It's actually patient impact as well. And those individual stories, those individual patient interactions that really energizes the team and shows what a great thing that, again, started in Newfoundland and Labrador and is now thousands of volunteers providing thousands of operations and patient interaction and education across multiple different countries.
And just one more thing, I'm just looking there behind you. It looks like it's a beautiful day where you are right now. A little goat there behind you. But, you know, it does look like we're seeing some damage there.
This is one of the places that Melissa first made landfall. And we just left the hospital, the main hospital, which is down closer to the ocean. And now we're up in the hills visiting a primary care clinic. And you can see behind, as I think we just panned, that all of these trees are barren. This was generally covered by lush green leaves, and everything has been blown off the trees by Melissa. If you also look around, I'm not sure if you could pick it up on the pan that we just did. There's also no roofs on any of these homes. So these are people's homes. It's where they live. There's a strong agricultural industry here in the hills of Jamaica, but now they have no proper shelter because they have no roof. So the devastation it may not appear to be much from an iPhone, but I can tell you it's quite significant here, even in the hills, and is amplified, of course, as there's more concentration of people towards the ocean.
Yeah, I can just imagine. We can definitely see it from this perspective. So when you finish up speaking with me, what's your plan for the rest of the day now?
So we'll finish this parish, and then we'll overnight, and then we'll go to a different parish, and then we'll have a healthy perspective of the three main parishes that were impacted, and then sit down and do a needs assessment with Broken Earth, the entire executive of Broken Earth, and the teams across the country, and see if our skills can match their needs. And like I said before, I'm pretty comfortable that we can.
And, you know, it hasn't been too long since you were premier of this province. And, you know, you've been back in medical practice now, down in a disaster zone, helping out people. Just wondering, though, are you missing your old job at all?
Look, it was an incredible honor and privilege to serve the people of Newfoundland and Labrador in that capacity. I loved being premier of the province. I loved the interaction with the people. I loved problem solving on behalf of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. And I like to think I'm still doing that, just in a different way.
Well, Dr. Andrew Furey, thank you so much for taking a few minutes and speaking with us and letting us know what you're up to. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Carolyn, and thanks to everybody at home for all your support. Thank you to everybody who's ever supported Broken Earth.
Two Marble Mountain chairlifts, the Black Mariah and the Newfie Bullet, will not be operating this winter. And the general manager says part of the problem is that one of the lifts is so old, the manufacturer no longer makes the necessary replacement parts.
The two lifts in question, I guess the Black Mariah and the Newfie Bullet, they've both, they're older lifts. They've kind of reached the end of their life expectancy, and we need to do a true, honest evaluation of how much money it is to get those lifts serviceable for this year. But we still have the Lightning Express, which is a newer lift, can move 2,100 people an hour. We've put some extra money into it this year. It's got great serviceability and great reliability.
What do you hope to see here this winter? I'm hearing words like community, getting the younger people back. What is it you hope this place will be this season?
Our goal is community engagement. We want to get families back to enjoying this beautiful gem that we've got in the North Atlantic, on an island in the North Atlantic. We want to engage the community, the businesses. We want to help sort of drive some of the economy in the local area for winter tourism. We want people to get out and love winter. We really need our community support. We need people to come back to the mountain. We have this incredible product here. This fantastic skiing. I mean, it's so much fun to be here. Where else can you learn to fall down and stand back up, especially for kids? We need to get those kids engaged and outdoors and getting some fitness and recreation in.
Well, a baseball player from this province is heading to the big leagues. Jada Lee was picked 14th overall by the New York team in the inaugural Women's Professional Baseball League draft last night. She spoke with the CBC's Chrissy Holmes about the moment she got drafted.
With the 14th overall pick in the Women's Pro Baseball League draft, New York selects Jada Lee.
I honestly wasn't expecting to go that high, so we were kind of playing a game with my friends. They don't know many of the players, but I was playing a game like guessing who was going to go next, and I was getting most of them right, but I thought I was going like a decent bit later, so I was kind of shocked when I went up, and then all my friends were cheering, but I'm not a huge attention person, so I kind of just like hid behind, but it was a lot of emotion.
So what happens now? Yeah, with the draft pick, I mean, do you pack your bags? So what comes next?
The season starts in August. We honestly haven't gotten many details yet. So I'm expecting to hear from them soon with more details. But I'd say we'll probably head to Illinois July, August and get ready for the season.
And now to be drafted in the Professional Women's Baseball League. I mean, this is history. What does this mean to you to be a part of this and to be the 14th pick in the world?
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, growing up, even like, obviously I had like dreams to play professionally and stuff, but in my head, it was always me playing professionally with men. Like there was never a thought, not because I didn't want it, but there's just no thought that there was going to be a women's pro league within my lifetime at least. But then watching like the other leagues, like the PWHL and stuff, like the way they flourished, I kind of got hopeful. So seeing this league, it means a lot.
Fantastic. Well, staying with sports, the Professional Women's Hockey League kicks off its third season tonight. More players from this province to cheer for. Two players from this province are in the league. Abby Newhook is joining the PWHL this year after being drafted by the Boston Fleet. Maggie Connors has been playing with the Toronto Scepters since the PWHL's inaugural season. Connors will be hitting the ice tonight as Toronto faces off against the Minnesota Frost at 8:30 p.m. Newfoundland time, 8 o'clock in parts of Labrador. And some curlers from this province will be vying for a playoff spot at the club championships in Winnipeg tonight. Team NL is currently in third place in the women's division at the National Amateur Tournament. Skip Marcy Brown says the tournament is meant to give people who may not be at the elite level a taste of competitive curling.
It's still fierce competition, but it's very social. And teams mingle after the games, and it's really nice. They have entertainment and So yeah, it's a bunch of fun.
If Team NL wins tonight's match against Manitoba, they are guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. Yes, I should. Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Happy anniversary to Elias and Valerie White of Flat Bay, who are celebrating their 55th anniversary. Congratulations to Cliff and Linda Pritchett of Gambo. They've been married for 50 years. Anniversary greetings going out to Peggy and Howard Jones. They're marking 53 years of marriage. Wishing Calvin and Rita Barnes from Summerford a happy 61st anniversary. Happy 65th anniversary to Lauren and Doreen Squires of Carbonear, now living in Mount Pearl. Wishing Robert and Charlotte Bull a happy 56th anniversary. They're from Butts Pond East near Gambo. Happy 56th anniversary tomorrow to Wally and Judy Russell of Carmenville. Congratulations to Frank and Verly Hodnott of Embry, who are marking 59 years together. Happy anniversary to Roger and Vera Shepard of Corner Brook. They're celebrating 60 years of marriage. Happy anniversary to Stan and Gertie Walsh of Beta Verde. They've been married for 63 years. Wishing Stuart and Francis Burt of Charlottetown, Labrador, a happy 60th anniversary on Sunday. Happy 68th anniversary to Bob and Rosemary Moore of St. John's. Happy 56th anniversary tomorrow to Pat and Jen Butler of St. Mary's. Congratulations to June and Edgar Napier of Sandy Cove, Bonavista Bay. Their 61st anniversary was yesterday. Happy 52nd anniversary to Helen and Chester Coffin from Channel Port aux Basques. Wishing Ed and Betty March of Brownsdale a happy anniversary. They've been married for 60 years. Happy 50th anniversary tomorrow to Reg and Elizabeth Walters of St. John's. Lois and Llewellyn Nicol of Lewisport will celebrate their 52nd anniversary on Sunday. Now to some birthdays. Celebrating her 91st birthday is Carol Kelland of St. John's, now living in CBS. Happy birthday to Alban Hearn of Mount Carmel, who's turning 90. Happy 92nd birthday to Dot Evoy, who celebrated on Tuesday. Mildred McKay of McKay's is 102 years old. She's now living in Stephenville Crossing. Hope you have a lovely birthday. Happy 90th birthday to Olive Dwyer with love from the family. Marion Lake of Grand Falls, Windsor, now living in St. John's, is turning 92. Happy birthday. Wishing Elizabeth Walsh a happy 92nd birthday yesterday. Birthday greetings going out to Edith Piercy of Burgeo, who turns 95 on Sunday. Happy 90th birthday to Gertrude Whalen of Colliers. And birthday greetings going out to Leona Harbin. Her 99th birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday to Bernadette Bird of Happy Valley Goose Bay. And happy 100th birthday to Joan Masters of Fairhaven. She's a veteran of the British Women's Land Army. Love from all the many generations of your family. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. But we do have one more very special happy birthday this week. Hercilia Moores will be turning 110 years old tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. At 110, she's the oldest living person in Newfoundland and Labrador. And last year, CBC's Terry Roberts got to share a special birthday meal with her when she turned 109.
Celia, I've got a treat for you. Today, I'm your wingman. How about some wings? How about we share some wings?
That sounds all right in my mouth. Help yourself, everybody.
When this woman was born, the world was in the grips of the Great War. Newfoundland soldiers were fighting at Gallipoli. Women weren't allowed to vote, and Confederation with Canada was still 34 years away. Meet Hercilia Moores, maiden name Barrett, known to most as Celia. Born in Bay Roberts on November 22nd, 1915, she's the oldest resident of Newfoundland and Labrador. She's the daughter of a wireless radio operator and spent her early years living in the shadow of this Labrador lighthouse. And just like the light that shines into the Strait of Belle Isle, Hercilia is still as bright as ever, dark humor and all.
What are we going to do for your 110th birthday?
Pushing up Daisy.
No, no way. No way.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, happy 110th birthday, Hercilia. That is just fantastic. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, happy birthday.
All right, so we're going to look at the long-range forecast. The weekend is looking pretty good.
No, unsettled. Rain, snow, it's okay. Some of us are going to see some sunshine.
I remember double-digit temperatures yesterday.
Right.
I think that's what I was thinking of.
That's right, yeah. And temperatures are going to be mild, that's for sure, especially in the east. Let's take a look at what's going on while we get there. So Saturday evening, we are going to see another round of rain move in for eastern portions of the island. Now, from, say, Gander through to Terra Nova, potentially the Bonavista Peninsula, potentially the Burin Peninsula, you could see this as some snow. And it'll fall fairly quickly. By the time we get to the afternoon, say noon, it should end. But you could pick up some maybe 2 to 5 centimeters of snow. So don't be surprised if that's the case on Sunday morning. Now, the west coast of the island, you're looking at some onshore flurries because temperatures are going to be much cooler. And then we're looking at some flurry activity up across Labrador as well. Daytime highs on Sunday are going to drop for most areas between 2 and 4 degrees, likely stay around 7 or 8 degrees for the Avalon, but we will see that temperature drop up across Labrador, minus single digits for Lab City, and then between 0 and about +1 for the rest of the Big Land. Now, as we head into Monday, again, likely some onshore flurry or shower activity for those of you on the West Coast. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot to talk about. We may see a little bit of activity weather-wise, showers or flurries for the coast of Labrador. But other than that, just some flurries in Lab West. You're looking at your daytime high at the coolest, around -4, otherwise 1 to 2 degrees for the 0 to 2 degrees for the rest of Labrador. And then across the island, you're looking at your daytime highs between 2 and 6 degrees. So again, really not moving a whole lot, and just looking at those showers on the West Coast and or flurries on the West Coast. Now, the long range forecast, we will see those temperatures drop for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland as we get to Tuesday. This is when we're going to see the chance of some showers, potentially even some flurries in the mix. That will be the story for Wednesday as well, as you see a little bit of maybe a few peaks of sun in the mix there. Now, as we look ahead for Central, you are looking at a fairly nice stretch of weather, at least to start the week, with a temperature a little bit of a roller coaster, 1 to 5 degrees. And then for Western Newfoundland, you're looking at your flurries continuing through Wednesday between 1 and 2 degrees as your daytime highs. Now for Eastern Labrador, again, quiet, cooling down though, minus single digits by midweek. And you're looking at unsettled weather for Western Labrador, so some flurries in the mix. I'm sure people are very happy about that, but your overnight lows will sit in the minus single digits. Our weather photo of the day is a beautiful photo taken just, I believe, yesterday of one of the Signal Hill foxes there. Thank you to Julie for that. If you have any weather photos, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, sweet picture. My goodness. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much for sending that in. Really appreciate it. And yeah, the weekend is here.
That's it.
Hope you have a wonderful weekend and enjoy yourselves out there. And thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us.
Good night.